Oh, there's British exceptionalism again. Great Britain wants to obtain financial concessions from the EU in negotiations about a return to the EU research programme Horizon Europe. A British government spokesman said on Thursday that there were constructive talks. However, no deal has yet been agreed with Brussels. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak wants to achieve good value for money. If no agreement is reached, London will push ahead with its own research project called Pioneer and use the money earmarked for Horizon for Pioneer then. Well, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak could decide this week whether to agree to an agreement that would allow the UK to regain access to the Horizon Europe research and development programme after a 2.5-year delay. The EU project is endowed with around 95 billion euros. And Sunak will hold talks with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen on the sidelines of this week's NATO summit in Vilnius. British and EU officials had earlier confirmed that a compromise was within reach. On Thursday, the British Prime Minister's spokesman downplayed the media reports from earlier in the week that an agreement had already been reached with the European Commission. Yeah, we know that game. The UK's access to Horizon Europe was part of the Trade and Cooperation Agreement, the TCA, which came into effect after London left the EU single market in January 21. The possibility of joining was part of it. However, the European Commission blocked this access on the grounds that the UK had failed to carry out customs and border checks required under the Northern Ireland Protocol. After EU and UK officials finalized the so-called Windsor framework in February that ended disputes over the protocol, von der Leyen promised negotiators would act quickly to confirm the UK's association membership in Horizon Europe. In the months since, however, officials have haggled over UK contributions to the scheme. UK ministers argue that the 2-year delay in accessing Horizon Europe has severely disadvantaged its universities and researchers, as many projects are multi-annual and have already started without UK involvement. However, the university community has indicated that the UK benefited disproportionately from Horizon Europe's predecessor program, and this is likely to be the case with this turn as well. The EU is said to have offered a compromise on the financial terms after initially arguing that the UK's prorated contribution should be the same as originally agreed under the Technical Cooperation Agreement. The disagreements between the officials revolved around several tens of millions of euros. Should the UK participate in Horizon Europe, this would cost the country a contribution of around 2.5 billion per year. In May, the UK government unveiled plans for its own national scheme. As I said, it's called Pioneer, which would receive the same amount from 21 to 27 as the government would have paid to be associated with the EU project. And as I said, Downing Street said on Thursday morning that no agreement has been reached yet. But Sunak's official spokesman told the press that the 2-year ban has had an impact on the participation rates of British scientists. It affects not only the past 2 years, but also the future value that the UK will derive from these programs, and the UK would be a net contributor to a Horizon program if a decision were made to take this approach, he said. I think overall we want to ensure that any agreement, be it Horizon or the UK alternative Pioneer, brings the best benefit to UK science and research and also to taxpayers, as the spokesman said. Well, the media in London had previously reported that Sunak had a draft agreement. The document could be decided, as I said, at a meeting with EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen on Tuesday this week on the sidelines of the NATO summit in Vilnius. However, EU diplomats were skeptical, and Brussels insists there should be no financial exceptions for London, although others are talking about a compromise. Great Britain was excluded from Horizon 2020, and the move came in response to their unilateral action. So you always have to see cause and effect. Whose fault is it that the UK is not in Horizon Europe yet? Whose fault is it that there was a delay? Horizon Europe is a research and innovation funding program with a budget of around 95 billion euros, as I said, for the years 21 to 27. And the program supports research projects and international cooperation in science. And without this, all those shenanigans, the UK could have been a member for a long time already. So I have to repeat the question: whose fault is it that they still are not part of Horizon Europe? And if you're interested in more shenanigans or other topics, the next video is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.